Here is the new variable ND+CPL filter from Kase, and it's exquisite in its workmanship. I love it. So let me just show you what it can do. Let's start with the variable neutral density indicators that change the density of the light. So perhaps you can see as I go through, this starts at 1.5, it then goes to 2. You see it gets darker, then it goes to 3, then 4, then 5, and as you can see, 6, 7 and 8 are really quite close, but there's a little arrow here that enables you to line it up perfectly, and if you line it up perfectly you won't have any issues with the glasses creating funny shading or vignetting on your images. Now you will see from this filter straight up that it screws on. This is an 82mm, also comes in these sizes. It screws onto the front of your camera and you'll make sure that's a nice snug fit but not too tight. There is a beveled edge that supersedes the other beveled edges, and that beveled edge enables you to undo the filter once it's on your lens. Very, very helpful. Comes with color true glass, so when you take a photo, even on the ND filter and the CPL, you'll still get the colors that come through accurate to the colors that you see. Now what they do say at Kase is be very careful. If you get dirt on the glass, what you should do is get a blower, blow it off, then get a brush it off, and it's, if anything still remains, then use a damp cloth to wipe it off. And I would suggest in little motions like this around, just be careful and delicate. This glass is pretty tough. It's not like, oh my gosh, what am I getting if I sneeze on it? Don't sneeze on it. But if I sneeze on it, is it going to destroy the glass? It's not like that. But if you want to keep it in the best condition possible, that's what you should do. And Kase also sent with the pack this lens cap, which is really nice. It is a little bit plasticky, so it does feel a bit more plasticky and a little bit less material than might be used on some of your other Nikon or your Sigma or Tamron lenses or that sort of thing. But it pinches in and holds to your glass, so you can keep this as a permanent fixture. So if you find yourself doing a lot of motion work, you're shooting a lot of landscapes that have a lot of water in them or those kind of things, or you're wanting to do a video project where you're wanting to increase the aperture potential of your lens, but you can't because it's too bright, that's where you use an ND filter, which brings down the light so you can put it on a low aperture and get the shots you want by keeping your frame rate consistent with what it should be for a cinematic effect, which is basically a double your shutter of your frame rate. So if you're shooting on 24 frames a second, you put it to 1/50, but that limits your aperture. This doesn't. So let's take it outside and just have a look at what it can do. Here are my settings, 1/1600 of a shutter. It's a really bright day. I'm focused in on the fountain at 2.8 and an ISO 100, and I'm going to take that shot. Now what I'm going to do is add the CPL ND filter from Kase. When you add it, you have to make sure you're flush with the thread, and it has a lot of screwing in to do rather than just a half a turn. If you do half a turn and it's tight, it means you haven't got it flush. So that is it. Now what we do is we alter the CPL function on it, and you'll see automatically CPL drops it down a stop. So I'm going to accommodate for that stop with my shutter speed, and it takes my shutter speed to 1/800. And then I'm going to show you what the CPL can do. And I'm going to turn the CPL clockwise, which is actually counterclockwise to me. And you can just see the effect it has on the water and on the shot. So it takes the glare out of the water, takes the reflection out of the water. You see that's happening right there. And then once you go halfway, it comes all the way around and you see it coming back in. The idea with this filter is you set it to where you want it to be. And I'm going to go right there. Now, because this is a fountain shot, I want to slow that water down. And how do I do that? Well, that's when the ND filter comes in. So at the moment it's at 1.5, and if I move it to 2, watch what happens. So I'm using that little red lever to move it to 2, and you see the light meter has gone down. So I'm going to accommodate for that, and we drop down to 1/500. If I go to 3 stops, it drops it down another stop, and so I'm going to accommodate for that. Then we're going to go to 4, and again a stop. And all these little indicators, as you saw before, are on the filter. So you just make sure you get them just flush how you want them. And then right when it gets to the high end, they start to get a little bit close together. So you have to be really, really careful. And then instead of going by stops, you're probably going by sight and what you want to achieve. But my shutter speed has dropped to 1/15. And if I go to the 8 stop all the way around, that jumps from, look at that massive jump. So from here That's like from 7 to 8, and it drops hugely. So we're now going to go 1.5, and I'm going to take that shot, and then I'm going to capture it and zoom in on it and have a look at this. This is what it was just now, and this is what it was before. So what it was. So we can slow down that water incredibly to get the feel of motion and drama of water or cars or anything else that has movement. The final test I like to do is put it on shutter speed priority at 100/1/160, and now what I'm going to do is just move the ND filter, and you can see if there's much vignetting. So let's just have a look at this. We're going to go to 2, 3, 4. Experienced any vignetting yet? Usually vignetting happens at this end of the spectrum. We're going to go to 5. We're going to go to 6. We're going to go to 7. And then we're going to go to 8. And as I'm looking at 8, I don't see any huge issues there at all. Let me just skim back through them all. See, between you do. But when it sets on the setting, you're all good. So make sure when you're setting up your filters, you're landing straight on the number, so the red lever is next to the number, and you won't have any issues with any weird things of lenses creating dark corners or dark stripes through your photograph. All Kase filters come in this nice container. It looks very similar to this, sits in there well, so you can transport it around without damaging it or hurting it, and then it just flips off like this. You have a nice foam insert and have access to your filter here, and then you can pop the lid on there, and it, oh no, it doesn't. That would have been really sweet, but then you'd have a really bulky thing. So otherwise you just hold that on top. Yeah, it'd be nice if that just slotted in there too, but then we're looking at like, then it's chunky, and then, well, you know, you've got those limitations. So what did you think? This is the variable ND+CPL filter from Kase. Does it meet your needs? Does it solve the problem? I've been really impressed with Kase glass. I have no issues whatsoever there. It's a nice little unit. It's really quite light, has the indicator numbers, has 2 bevels, one so you can change your CPL, no worries, and one so you can remove it. That's quite distinct from each other, which I find is really important. What do you reckon? Love to hear. Love for you to subscribe and like, and you can contribute to the channel if you want in any way. That's down below. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.